What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your Queen Sugar review, season 4, episode 8. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hope you like this video. So, the saying "when it rains, it pours" does not even do justice to what is going on with the borderline family. We have continued to see the family under attack. We picked up with, we left off last week finding out that the mill is on fire. So that's what we pick up. Charlie is just looking rough. I mean, they said they've been there all night. Um, Kiki come running up. So, her and Micah, I guess they done made up. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I just was worried about you." He was like, "I'm sorry, we've been here all night." So I guess whatever Kiki was mad about, she over it. That's what happens when you think somebody about to be gone, and you guess who else shows up? Miss Nova. She said she was in Philadelphia when she found out. She probably took the first thing smoking to fly there to get there, by that morning. Come to find out, Micah told her about it. And Ralph Angel and and Charlie are looking at Nova like, how dare you have the audacity to show up here? And they wouldn't even really speak to her. And then, you know, Nova's like, well, come on, I know y'all are mad at me, but we got to figure this out. We. Charlie said, oh, no, 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 no. There's no we. It's us. It's me. Me and Ralph Angel will figure this out. You don't have nothing to do with this. And they left her standing there, baby. I said, oh, Lord. I, I thought something like this might make them soft, but no, they're digging their heels in even deeper. Then we see a very interesting scene between Ava and Sam. In that Sam? Sam was the older Landry. And she was like, "Have you lost your ever loving mind? Like, when y'all came for my shop, I was cool, I could handle it." She said, "But you you dug deep." He said, "Vi, you gotta know that wasn't me." He said, "It wasn't me." He said, "I would never stoop that low." She said, "Well, your family then, if you didn't do it, you know who did." And he said, "Vi, this is beyond me." What's that saying? It's above me now. He said, "This is beyond me." He said, "This is some stuff that I can't do nothing about. I don't have no control over what's going on. It's beyond my control at this point." And she looked at him. She said, "I'm calling in that favor." Now I don't know what favor he owe her, and if it's something we've already visited, y'all remind me from season 1 or 2 or something. But I don't know what he could owe her that she feel like she can call that favor in. But when she said it, his whole face dropped because his face said he know he owe her. Like whatever that favor is, his face said, "Oh my, like now you want to call in that marker?" And he said, "Vi, I can't. Like I can't." She said, "I tell you what. Them animals that you got running loose, you better get them back on the leash." And she's dead serious. So I don't know what. And he said, "I'll try." She said, "Oh no, you will do." I don't know what he owe her, baby, but it must be a big one. I'm sure we'll find out if it ain't something that I just forgot about. So then Charlie goes to confront Sissy Pooh. I don't forgot the woman's name. It ain't even important. And baby, she let all her true feelings out. Okay, she, um, Charlie is confronting her, and she said, "I love this land." Charlie said, "You pretend like you love this land." She said, "I do." She said, "You know what I love best about sugarcane?" She said, "After it goes through the refinery and it comes out all nice and pure and white." Charlie said, "That's it. That's it right there. Tell me how you really feel." Baby, what she did, she let Charlie know exactly how she really feels. She said, "Oh, is that why Jacob was sniffing around?" She said, "No, that was his own weakness." She said, "The men in my family are weak. They always pretend like they're gonna muddy up the blood pool, but they always come around to their senses." She said, "You are just nouveau riche that came in here with your football money and your scandal, your sex scandal." She said, "You were never made for this. You came into town throwing stuff up, tearing up stuff." She called her a mulatto. I mean, y'all, it was bad. It was bad. And I'm gonna give Charlie credit for keeping her cool because I don't know, I might have caught a charge with everything else I was going through emotionally, and then some of the stuff that woman was saying to Charlie. But at the end of the day, she didn't admit to doing anything, but she did say, "Hey, I ain't had nothing to do with it, but I'm kind of okay with what happened with your meal. And Charlie let her know you done made it. You thought. You thought. She said, why did you even come at me with this whole women empowerment mess? She said, because the same reason why you did. Keep your enemies close. The art of war. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. She said, but I ain't got to pretend no more. So I don't know, but Charlie let her know, baby, it ain't over, and I'm coming for you. And Ralph Angel actually got it all on tape. But like I said, she didn't admit to doing anything. I mean, all you got on tape is her being a racist, but I don't think that's going to shock no damn body that she was a racist. You know what I'm saying? So then we see Miss Damn Darla. She sees the mill is on fire on the news. First thing she do is call Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel don't answer the phone. So what she do? She hightails it over to Ralph Angel's house. Ralph Angel is sitting there working on his plan to save the reentry program. He's talking to Joa's mother. Now, he said her name. He introduced her, and he said her name because it's funny because myself, L Teddy 27, Random TV Reviews, and James Caldwell, ain't none of us know that woman's name. We kept saying Joa's mother, Joa's mother. So they must not have said her name but once or twice because out of all of us, though, none of us know that woman's name. But they did say her name tonight, and I still forgot to write it down. So, Joa mama. Um, and she could tell there's something going, there's some unfinished business between the two of them, She could tell there's some mess going on there. And she gives them some time, she said, well, let me go and give y'all a moment. She said, no, Darla was like, oh no, I just wanted to check on Ralph Angel. But I was like, go on, check on Ralph Angel. In the meantime, in the between time, Nova done made her way over to the High Yellow, well, Ain't Pies and whatever. And Prosper's there. Mr. Prosper's there. And Nova got slapped with a little bit of her self-righteousness. Unfortunately, it's too late to fix it. But again, had you talked to some people and had you had a conversation with some people before you decided you knew what was going on and you knew all the answers, maybe you might have saved some people some embarrassment and at least some untruths. So Prosper says to Nova, she said she was looking for Aunt Vine, of course. He said, well, Aunt Vine's at the house, taking care of some things. He said, but can I talk to you for a minute? She said, okay. And she's talking she thinks she got an ally. She's talking to him about, the fact that the family's not speaking to her. And he says, well, I read the book. I said, oh. He said, that story you told about your daddy burying something. She said, yeah, so you knew about those men threatening me? He said, uh-huh. He said, now look, he was my friend before he was your father. And we talked about a lot of stuff. Some nights he didn't talk about nothing. Some nights he talked about everything. He said, but he told me about what happened that night. And yeah, those men, they showed up and they showed up with bad intentions in their mind. And your father fought them, damn near killed them. But in the midst of them fighting, because he went back into the training from the army, it was like almost like a PTSD thing. He said he was back in combat and he was doing what the army told him to do. He said, but somewhere in there, he heard your mother singing to Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel had woken up in the middle of the night and your mother was singing, and that brought him out of it. And that made him realize that he didn't want to make the mistake he made, what was getting ready to make. And he actually took those men to the hospital and helped them. And clearly the men didn't retaliate or come back and get him because, that could have been a whole nother situation. He said, but what you saw that night was your father burying his hurt and burying his anger. He took his clothes, he took the bat he used, and anything else from that moment. And that's what you saw him burying. And Nova looked stupid as ugh. And I'm sitting there thinking, had you had a conversation, instead of thinking you know everything and thinking you got all the answers, maybe, just maybe, you would save yourself some of the heartache that you're going through right now. Because it's not just that story that you told that you didn't get right. It's everybody else's story that you told. Anyway, Aunt Vi's back is at the house, honey, and we hear somebody come to that door. Let me tell y'all something. My heart skipped a beat. I said, "That's Hollywood. That's Hollywood." And when she saw Hollywood walk in the door, baby, she got so happy, and she was so happy to see him. And Hollywood was like, "I got you, babe. What you need?" And I was saying at that moment, you need to just take him into the bedroom. You need to go on and just show him how you miss him. You just go on. But she said she's having family dinner. She said, right now we just need some comfort. And so she's having the family over. So she's actually cooking at that moment. But she is truly happy to see him. And I just hope that this, unfortunately, it's a hard thing, but I just hoping that she's been able to work through it. So then we see Ralph Angel and his girlfriend. Um, And he didn't call her his girlfriend when he introduced her to Darla. He said, "My friend, no." And I wouldn't have been mad at. She looked like she kind of felt some kind of way about that, but I don't think I would have been mad about it by him saying my friend, because he ain't say she just my lawyer. He did say she's my friend, and they don't have a label on their relationship yet, so I don't know if I'd have been mad about it. But I could tell she was a little looking at him a little sideways. But then, so he's before the board, because the program is up for review. And he's talking about how much of an honorable man his father was and how he, want to do right by his father's legacy and everything. And in the back of my mind, all I was thinking was they about to throw that shit in his face. Because we just had the conversation with Nova and the whole story about her dad burying a body. And I was waiting for them to bring that up. I was waiting for them to be like, well, your father wasn't that honorable. I mean, don't we think he killed somebody? Your own sister thinks he killed somebody. Like, in my mind, that's where I was thinking they were getting ready to go. But that's not where they went with it. They went to the mill. And again, you really don't understand the trickle down effect of some of these things until it really, like, it didn't even occur to me that, and they have a legitimate concern, even though we know the attack is coming from a non-legitimate place. It's a legitimate concern to say, look, can you even make payroll at this point? These are convicted felons, people who are out on parole, who have to maintain a 40-hour-a-week job. Can you afford to keep them employed? Because your cane goes through the mill. The mill is gone. And Ralph Angel was like, well, the majority of the majority of the sugar has been refined. Like we're good. Like he was like, I think it'll be tight, but I think we'll be able to get through. They said, well, what about next season? Will she even be able to rebuild and be ready to go by next harvest? Which is that's a valid point. Like I don't think that was a. But of course, that was the purpose. Like the meal being gone, and then the next thing they said they're gonna have to review it and they'll get back to them. And don't sound good though. Then we see Charlie talking to the farmers, and y'all know the farmers was already iffy because remember they sold her out the last time, and that's why she even had to go into bed with the Landrys to begin with. If the farmers had backed her up, and don't get me wrong, I understand why they didn't, but had they not jumped ship so fast the first time around, Charlie would have never been in bed with the damn Landrys when she had to sell off and all that other stuff. But that's what under the bridge. That was season 2, season 3. Um, but the black farmers was like, Charlie, we can't afford, like we took a chance going with you, and now you don't even have the mill. We don't know when the mill is gonna be up and running. And she started talking about insurance and stuff. They were like, insurance. It's they suspect arson. That could take years. When there's an arson investigation, that ain't no overnight thing, which they definitely expect arson. Suspect arson, I should say, because of there was accelerants. It took the fire department so long to get there because they never got the alert because the alarm system had been disabled. I mean, it's clear that this was a total, arson situation. So then we see them at dinner. And Joao mama had dinner with the family. I said, that's bad that Joao mama invited and damn Nova ain't there. But Joao mama there. And she's actually talking to them like, look, we got to get past emotional. We know that the Landrys are behind it, but we need proof. We need proof that the Landrys are behind it. We need proof of collusion. And hell, if they can't find proof of collusion with the Russians and Trump, I know they can't find collusion with Landry. But and Charlie is all about solutions. So Charlie keeps trying to come up with solutions, and she's jumping up and she's moving around, and everybody looking at her like she need a set. Like they need to slide her a volume. Like Charlie need to just sleep for 24 hours. And Anvi said that. Anvi said, Charlie, Your mill burned down less than 24 hours ago. Nobody is expecting you to have all the answers. Let's sit down. Let's have dinner. Let's give us time to process it. Like, we know what we got to do. We got to find proof. And it's not going to be easy because I'm sure they've done everything they do to cover their tracks. But I think what's going to end up tripping them up, because somehow or another they're going to get tripped up. What's going to end up tripping them up is that I think they have underestimated to a certain extent Charlie. I do. I think they have. And Charlie, once she get herself some rest, she'll be all right. So we see Nova. She called up White Cop, and she breaks down. She said, I think I've lost my family. I mean, this is the most raw we've seen her with this situation. I mean, she doing the snot and cry. I mean, she is done. And he said, I don't believe that. She said, oh no, you didn't see the way they looked at me. She said, they didn't just look at me like I wasn't family. They looked at me like I was the enemy. And that's exactly how they looked at her. They looked at her like, how dare you show up here? Like, they looked at her like she burned down that damn meal. You know what I'm saying? And she right. She right. They did. That's exactly how they looked at her. And so of course y'all know he runs to show up. He's like, where are you? She said, I'm home. So y'all know he gonna show up. So the next morning he shows up and he's in there, and then Micah comes through. And I thought this was very interesting because see, Micah was the last one. Micah was the last one. Now the book didn't piss Micah off. But because of Micah's own trauma, that white cop pissed him off. He said, so has this been going on the whole time? She said, no, you read the book. I ain't been with this man. She said, we just recently reconnected. He was like, and you cool with it? Like, you cool? He's a cop. She said, all cops aren't bad cops. He said, okay, maybe he's not a bad cop, but he saw people around him be bad cops and he didn't do nothing about it. And she said, well, I don't think so. But I don't know. She said, but we can't blame him for all bad cops. But you saw that Michael wasn't feeling it. Michael wasn't feeling it at all. And he didn't like come right out and say he ain't messing with her like that. But you definitely saw the disappointment in his face, and you definitely heard the judgment in his voice. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, uh-oh, did she finally lose the last one? Did she finally lose? Because Micah was the one that called her about the mill fire. That's how she found out about the fire. And they looked at Micah when they found out Micah called her. He was like, she's still family, right? You ain't get the memo. She not family no more. You ain't get that memo. They ain't CC you on that. So then we see Aunt Vi praying. And she prayed for everybody and talked about how the family is under attack. But, Lord, I know you got them. She said, and even the stubborn one, even her, Lord, I don't really want to deal with her right now. But I still want you to cover her. I still need you to make sure you're taking care of her. And I said, oh boy, I was like, okay. So I don't think Aunt Vi is softening, but I do feel like Aunt Vi is like, look, I don't really necessarily want her around me right now, but I can't let her go. Like, she's still my blood. I still love her. You know what I'm saying? Then Ralph Angel has to let the farmers know, let his workers know that, he had their paychecks, but he told them, I'm gonna have to let some people go. I don't know if, I can't keep all of y'all. Like, I'm trying to find other work for y'all. He asked some of the other farmers. They were like, look, we barely holding on ourselves. We can't afford to hire nobody else. We don't know what's going to happen on our farms. And of course that hurt, it definitely hurt Ralph Angel because, you're trying to do something good. Things were going great. And it's just like, it just seemed like you can't get over that hump. Charlie can't sleep. Like I said, somebody need to just slide her a volume. Somebody need to slide. Just tell us an Advil. I don't know. Slide her a volume. She needs to sleep for about 24 hours. She really needs to just decompress. So, of course, she can't sleep. So she goes down to the mill. Don't know what she thinks she's going to do with the mill, but she just needs to be there. She's taking pictures. She's sweeping. She's, and she breaks down. She finds the Queen Sugar sign, honey, and she just breaks down. And at that moment, who walks up on her? Sam Landry. And he told her the same thing he told Vi. He said, look, as one businessman to another, I'm just here to pay my respect. She said, what the hell make you think I want you here? He said, look, Charlie, you have to know. No matter how bad we were fighting, no matter how we felt about he said, you have to know. I didn't do this. And I believe him. I absolutely believe he did not do this. But I believe he knows that his family did it. I feel like he's guilty about it. But I believe that. And I also think that there's something. I don't know what this favor is he owe Aunt Vi. I don't know what Aunt Vi did for him or what secret she been keeping for him. But baby, it must be a doozy. But she tells him she says anyway, they go at it. He doesn't really defend himself. He lets her say her piece. But I'm gonna tell you the one thing he said that wasn't wrong. When she brought up, she said, you might not have done it, but your sister sure knows. He said, I warned you about my sister. And he did. See, Charlie thought she could outmaneuver the sister. She really thought Sam was the one she needed to eliminate, and it really was the sister all along. And he said, I told you about my sister. I tried to warn you about her. Touche. Water under the bridge at this point. But, she basically told him, look, I don't, look, bye. Why you here? I don't want whatever it is you came here with, whatever conversation you got, bye. Bye. But again, that's definitely going to come back to play. I don't know how that's going to come down the pipe, but that's definitely going to come back to play. Let me see Ralph Angel with Joie Mama. He cooked for her and they having a nice meal. And, James say he cried too much for her, but he do cry a lot. I hate when people say stuff and then I think, and then because now I'm paying attention every time he cry. Because he got to crying, talking about how he feel like he not doing right by his daddy. And, he just can't, just seem to do right by his father. And he keep letting his father down. And she said, I understand your feelings, but that don't have to be your reality. And she says to him, what she said, you can let your struggle be whatever. Basically, she said, get over it. She said it very eloquently, and I don't remember exactly how she said it now, but she basically said, get over it. Like get off the pity train and let's figure this out. It's pretty much what she said. She said it very nicely. And she told him the story about, what she went through and how her husband left her when she was breastfeeding and studying for the bar. And she had a job, but it was contingent on her passing the bar. And she said she was so exhausted and didn't think she could get it done and didn't think she'd be able to work this out. But at the end, she did. At the end, she made it work. And she was, like, look, we're going to get through this too. And then they end up spending the night together. And who the hell called in the middle of the night? That damn Darla. And this daggone Ralph Angel gonna get out the bed with this girl to go talk to Darla. Now I was thinking Blue was with her because obviously Blue wasn't at the house. We already know how Ralph Angel felt about having women in the house with Blue there. But come to find out, Blue was with Aunt Vi. Which why Blue with Aunt Vi when Hollywood just got back in town? Aunt Vi and Hollywood need some time alone, but neither, whatever. Because that's why I was thinking he answered the phone. Because my thing is, why else would you be answering the phone when you got a whole woman in your bed for your ex? Well, they got to talking, and he is actually having a full-fledged conversation with this woman in the middle of the night while he done left the girl in the bed. Honey. Then we get to Micah and Kiki. Micah and Kiki. Kiki done told Micah, I think prom night is the night. He said, oh, I'm going to rent me a tux and give me a limo, She said, no, fool. I mean, after prom. We need to make some plans. He was like, you think you ready for that? Because remember, Micah ain't new to this rodeo. Go back to season 1. Remember, Micah was getting it in when they was living in California. Remember, he got in trouble for sending his pictures of his peen all over town. Remember that? And all I could hear in my head was the Betty Wright song, Tonight Make Me a Woman. That's all I could hear. That's all I heard, y'all. And then we see Nova talking to White Cop. And she asked him, she said, I normally wouldn't ask you this question. She said, but after talking to Micah, I need to ask you, have you ever used excessive force? And he said, no. She said, but you knew cops that did. He said, yeah. And what did you do? Did you walk away? He said, yeah. And he told her honestly, he said, look, I was a coward. I wasn't strong enough to stand up. And she, here go Noble. I don't know, your past is going to continue. He said, no, no, no. He said, I'm not ashamed of my past because my past made me the man that I am today, which brought me to you. He said, I'm not that person anymore. But in that moment, yeah, in that moment, I wasn't strong enough to stand up. I wasn't strong enough to go against the machine. Um, and I mean, nothing went down, but she was holding his hand, and they gonna work through that. But last but not least, baby, Charlie boyfriend. I thought y'all. I keep waiting for Remy. I just knew it was Remy at the door, but I knew the way they wrote him off the show that I don't think he's coming back. I think he left the show. Left the show. I don't think his character left the show. But anyway, but it would have been nice if it had been Remy. But it's the boyfriend, and Charlie must have already known because he has the paper in his hand. He was like, "Is this true?" And what did I tell y'all? What's in the paper, front page? The story about Charlie and them migrant workers dying in that tornado. And Charlie said, look, she just don't have no more fight left. Like you could just see she don't have no more fight left. She said, I tried to make it. I tried to make it better. He's like, what you mean you tried to fix it? And I'm sure she's thinking about like the clinic and some of the other things she did. She said, I'm not, I, I'm not that. I don't know if she said I'm not that person, but she didn't really defend herself. But I just don't think she got any fight left in her. I just don't. He said so. She said something about losing her business or something. And he was like, okay, you lost your building. All right, your business burned down. He said, but people lost their lives. Like you have no defense to this. And she was just like looking at him like, I got nothing. You know what I mean? Like it ain't no fight there. It's just no fight there, y'all. And he walks out and he leaves her standing there. I said, oh boy. So this is the downward motion. We got to come back up. It's got to start working its way back up this hill because I don't know how much deeper we can go, y'all. But anyway, that's Queen Sugar. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I know it ran long tonight, but a lot was going down, y'all. It's a lot going down. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments, please.